Mellencamp.
Hello and welcome to Misfits on Vinyl. My name is Spencer Streichert. I'm an actor, comedian, and one of your hosts.
My name is Aaron. I'm also one of your hosts.
Aaron is also an actor.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes.
Like I said before, I act every weekend like I love you.
That's true.
Yes,
you act like you want to be here.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true, actually.
All right, so this is the third episode we're recording this weekend, and today we have a very special guest on. We actually have two guests, but they're a part of one band. We have, all the way from Los Angeles, California, the Doohickeys.
Woo! Hello! Woo!
Thank you so much for coming on the show. We're super excited to have you guys on.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, so before we get started, we have to do this because our official, non-official sponsor of the podcast, Cabin Brewing, has given us some Sunshine Rain IPAs. So we got to crack those open. I think I've had this before, not on the podcast.
I've had it before too. Poured into our record mugs.
Because we are cool like that, and I have a record mug again because a couple of weeks ago, actually, Jack, this was during the episode we were doing with Forrest. I went to pick up my mug and the handle just fell off, and I spilled beer all over my lap, and we hadn't quite figured out how to do anything with guests yet, so everything that could have went wrong in the first 5 minutes of that podcast, including me having to sit in my own beer for an hour.
Yeah, Forrest was really understanding and nice about it.
Yeah. It was actually kind of surprising. Forrest was very kind.
Yeah, no, I was shocked.
I would have expected him to just go in hard about the quality of the mugs he'd buy,
I thought he was going to get mean.
Dig into.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, the Doohickeys are a cheeky country band from Los Angeles, and I wanted to ask you guys, because you guys have a few singles out, but you don't have an album, so my very first question, I'm kind of jumping out of order here, but do you guys have an album in the works that you're looking to do?
I'll let Jack answer that one because it's sort of.
Yeah, we're in talks about what's the smartest approach to do it right now, because it's like, do we keep doing live stuff or do we do a full album? Do we do an EP? So we also need to find a producer we really like too, because the producers make a huge impact on everything. Because our two singles we have out right now, we did them in our friends' bedrooms. They're the bedroom records. So we'd want to go somewhere proper and record it properly. So we just had to figure out the cost and what we really need out of it before we really commit. So we're in talks to do something.
No, that makes sense.
I guess toying with the idea of an EP first. So, yeah.
And I love the idea of you guys dropping an EP because I've honestly been listening to your music a lot lately. Like ever since I Wish My Truck Was Bigger came out, I started just adding your songs to my regular playlist. So it's kind of funny because I'll be at the gym and I'll be listening to some 21 Savage, and all of a sudden it'll just be like, "This Town Sucks" comes on, and I'm like every time I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to skip it because I know how Spotify pays like shit, and I want to make sure that everybody gets paid regardless. So I'm going to listen to it while I finish my reps.
Spotify Robin Hood
here. There you go.
I'm a Spotify Robin Hood, okay? Well, I did, I don't know if you guys have ever done this with your music, but here's a really fun hack. If you have a VPN and you don't have a paid Spotify subscription, if you just loop one of your tracks and just leave it on mute, it will start trending on Spotify. And it's amazing how quickly that happens.
That's great.
Oh, shit. All right.
We got to do this,
I might
Jack.
do that tonight.
Yeah,
go get a fake account.
My boyfriend has a VPN for Iceland because that's where he's from, so we could just put it on in Iceland and have a really big fan base there in one person.
Works for me, man.
That's kind of how we became the number one music history podcast in Chile.
Yeah.
So
yeah. It's my one Chilean friend.
Good secret.
Okay.
It's funny when the song first went out, we were curious, okay, who's gonna because Spotify will automatically put songs afterwards of what they think is similar, but for the first couple weeks, Spotify's like, oh, we don't know what's similar. It's just gonna stop, and we're not gonna play anything.
Oh my god!
That's fun.
So then,
We're not
it started to like what people were listening to, like our friends would listen to. So it'd be like I wish my truck was bigger, and then it'd be like a techno song. Like, what? How are these? The fan base is not consistent in these songs yet. So now the algorithm's finally caught up, and there's songs that sound pretty awesome actually that come afterwards.
That's actually so funny because my one of the artists that's like, you know how Spotify shows like artists that you may also like. One of the ones under mine is Owen Benjamin, and I'm like, who is listening to my comedy and Owen Benjamin's comedy? Like, who is this person?
Is that the guy from Alex Jones? Is that the same guy?
I think he's banned from Alex Jones
Okay.
because he's too crazy for Alex Jones.
That's good. That's a good category to be put in.
Yeah, he like lives in the woods
Yeah.
and yells at people.
Nice. That's smart. That's great. That's good for you, Spencer.
Yeah, it's really good. In a good group of circle. Anyways, one of the things I want to get back to, because I couldn't really find a clear answer on this online anywhere, but I wanted to know, like, how did you two meet, and how long have you two been a band?
That's a great question.
Haley, you got
Yeah, Jack and I met in college. We were both part of kind of the comedy scene at USC, and we started working together on some satirical news projects. We did a show called The Breakdown together, which is really how I think our friendship started to solidify. And then we just kept being friends. And then once, like last year at Halloween, Jack had a Halloween party. I went over and I realized that his playlist was entirely country music, and I was very excited. I hadn't been to a party out in
my
LA.
bedroom. Each section of the house had different playlists, and so I couldn't get country in the main room, so I'd have it in my playlist if anyone wandered in.
Exactly,
Anyway,
which
keep
was a wonderful celebration for me. I hung out in the bedroom the whole time with a few of our other friends that love country music, and we just had the same taste in country music. We both like the crossover of our albums that we like and what we didn't like was lining up, and we just talked about maybe we definitely
the didn't like.
That didn't like. Yeah, we had a lot that we didn't like that overlapped. And so we just started to brainstorm. He had an idea for a song that he wanted to do as a sketch, and I thought it was funny. It was I Wish My Truck Was Bigger, which you've mentioned. And yeah, we sat down to write it, and we had a good time. So we wrote another one, and we had a good time. So we wrote another one, and then we kind of realized, hey, maybe we should do this more as not just a sketch and make it a project. So yeah.
Then I guess my next question is, because like you guys are both involved in comedy, so is that why you have what you have defined as cheeky country? Like, was that a big inspiration for it, like to take an angle that honestly there's not a lot of? Like, there's not a lot of like what I would say is like good music that is also funny, you know? And so like you guys have like kind of nailed this genre. So was that a big reason why you went with like the cheeky country route instead of trying to be like traditionally like a country artist that's like doing ballads, you know?
Yeah, I think historically country music has a lot of funny songs sprinkled in. It's kind of one of those genres where you're allowed to be funny, unlike some others. I think you're allowed to do whatever you want in art, but it's like, I think country in general has people who are trying to go for the funny songs. Dolly Parton has some really funny stuff, and Hank Williams, you go back to the old greats, and they were writing kind of comical songs. And so I think we both just gravitated towards those kinds of songs because we are comedians. And yeah.
And all the earnest stuff that I was writing was just so cringy. It's just like I need that level just to undercut it, just something, because if it's too sincere, it hurts.
Yeah.
I think it can be
like.
Go ahead.
I think it's embarrassing because when I started working for Jim, he is made so uncomfortable by like earnesty and sincerity, which explains a lot, but like that's something he and I kind of share. So like once he's like, oh, I hate this, I'm like, great, you're never gonna get it from me again later. And so whenever anyone shares anything like really earnest or sincere with me, I'm like stop, dude, it's fine, just like say hi and move on, like please. So I think that's also why the comedy just needs to undermine something, just because it's just always a good safe fallback kind of lack of emotional depth I really enjoy.
I agree. I think in college, I studied acting, and my note often was, does everything have to be a joke with you? And I think it solidifies what makes me happy.
No, that makes me think of when we both studied acting in university, and I remember at one point, it was like my second year, I took myself so fucking seriously.
Oh God!
I think I was wearing turtlenecks and like fucking like.
Oh God!
I was like smoking cigarettes outside in a turtleneck. I was like, God, I was such a fucking tool. Like,
I was also in the same boat where like in my first year of university, I had success is on a scale, but in university, like I was in all the main stage plays in my first year, so I kind of like put myself on a bit of a pedestal, and I started taking myself way too fucking seriously, and then everything that I wanted to do was like very dramatic, and I'm like, honestly, I just have to be so grounded when I'm doing this work, and it's like, ugh, you douche, you didn't have to do that. Okay, so to go back to your guys' writing then, how much of a shift is it from like joke writing to songwriting? Like in how your process is with the writing?
I think
we have a delay, so we don't know who wants to start. I'll go because I did stand up a lot. So to me, it was an easy transition because a lot of the stuff I like to do on stage that didn't work ended up lending itself to like song lyrics a lot better. So like kind of my voice and how I like to phrase things worked better in song form. Because you also have a little bit of, you have a backing track. There's other elements to it to help sell the concept versus just the words by themselves. Because a lot of the material I wanted to do in stand up, I couldn't deliver as a person. It didn't match what I was saying, didn't match my persona or whatever. So I had a lot of trouble with that. So the music adds like another element for me to like kind of, I guess, hide behind. But then like I love turns of phrases. Like I always try to do kind of Seinfeldy bits with like you just hang on one word and you keep inverting it or whatever. And a lot of country songs like to take turns of phrases and turn them on their head. God, a lot of turns in there. Yes, ramble, but yes.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think it was an easier transition than I expected. I think I was always writing kind of serious, earnest songs in my free time that I didn't want to show anybody because I didn't feel exciting to show people. But comedy was something I always wanted to share with people because I like making people laugh. And I think the idea of having one central idea in the joke kind of applies to a song too. It's like finding one idea that you're going to hit a bunch of times over the head in a verse or a chorus or a bridge. And you're sticking. It's nice to have one joke that you're sticking to and fleshing out, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, our sketch background has really helped with that because it lets every song be extremely focused. If we're like, oh, this is off game, we're like, all right, cut it. Who cares? Because we've written so many sketches in our lives and just know like, yeah, it's a good joke, but it undermines the whole premise. So you just nip it out, put it somewhere else. You can write another song or write another sketch. So all that training kind of helped us be able to just focus everything.
And I think because there's two of us, it helps too with us just getting it done. I think I don't know, I write a bunch and can show it to Jack, and Jack can point out this is on game, this isn't on game, and vice versa. And then we finish stuff a lot because say that again.
I said, this is good, this stinks, keep going, you're doing good, you're doing bad.
Yeah, exactly. But it's helpful. We were honest with each other about it.
Yeah, so. That's nice that you have that honesty between you when you're working on something together. Because sometimes I've been in projects where you can't feel like you can actually fully speak your mind, and you might have an opinion on something, and you don't say it, and because you're nervous or you're gonna hurt somebody's feelings, whatever it may be. But and at the end of the day, if you can walk away from something and move on, that's a sign of being a great artist. You can say, okay, maybe that didn't work. I'll take Jack's advice, or I'll take, and I'll move on. Right? That's a great thing to have in a partnership.
I also think it's nice that you guys have the comfortability to like be able to like fail freely with each other, because I think that like when you try something and it doesn't work, that ends up making something way better in the end, you know? Like, and I think maybe this goes back to like joke writing, but how often are you doing like stand up and you're writing a joke and you go through it and like it's just not fucking clicking? And so it's like, if you're able to fail though with those jokes and like and find out why it's not clicking, but to have that immediate back and forth with somebody that you're creative with, that's got to be incredible.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah, it's great. I really trust Jack's opinions, and I think it goes both ways, where we just feel comfy shouting out what works and what doesn't. And I think, like, for example, This Town Sucks, I came to him with all the lyrics pretty much written, but without a chorus. And I was like, I don't know what these words are saying. Do you know what the central idea is here? And he goes, yeah, this town sucks. And it was boom, that's what the song was, and it's what it needed. And we just, sometimes there's a meeting of the minds. Say that again?
The town just sounds fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Because there's times where I'll be like, hey, I just had this great idea for a song. And I'll pitch it, and she'll go, huh. I go, all right, that one's no good. Cancel, cross it out, delete.
I mean, we've written a lot of songs people will never, ever hear or see.
Oh, yeah, we have a work in progress folder with over 30 songs in it that are either half-baked, have a couple words on it, and we're just bailing on them because they're not there. Not even close to ready. We've had like 3 songs that we have basically our Google Drive is we have work in progress, rough draft, and completed. And there's been 3 songs we've had that were incompleted, and then when we played them just with each other, we went, no. And we put them back to rough draft or even work in progress because they're like, these just don't work. Put them away. And it's just sometimes it's just like the premise just isn't quite solid, or like you're working with too many ideas, or the melody's weird, and like because kind of the tricky part is making the sound of the song match the words of the song, and it's sometimes hard to crack that combo.
Yeah, and I could definitely understand that because when you're adding that layer of music to it, like it does change the tone completely.
Yeah.
So this is a side note question, but I grew up in a small town in southern Saskatchewan, which is very similar to like Southern America. Like it's honestly, like we have a weird thing in where I'm from where everybody's accent sounds like North Dakota and Louisiana had a baby. And it is fucking atrocious. It's like Hockey Bros meets like the fucking Cajun dude. Like it's just fucking weird.
Can you do it? Can you do the accent?
Oh, fuck.
Oh, he's bad with impressions.
Get
ready for this. Do your Boston.
Oh, yeah, I got a good Boston. Are you guys ready for my Boston?
Yeah.
I'm from Boston. It's wicked fucking departed. I'm from Boston.
Holy Lord.
So bad.
Aaron told me not to do that. And I did that in an audition, so...
Yeah, he was like, dude, what do you think of my Boston accent? And I was like, no, it's not good. It's not good. Don't do it. And he went and he fucking did it.
No, but
Hey, you try and you fail. It's part of it.
Yeah, it's part of the process. You gotta fail once in a while. I also, one time, was auditioning for a sketch TV show in Toronto, and I told Aaron the bit that I was gonna do, and it was Scooby-Doo and Shaggy having sex, and he was like, don't do that, that's a horrible idea. And I did it, and I didn't even get like anything from these people. They were so stunned that I would go there, so I don't exactly nail that most of the time.
Did you do the full body bidet for that too?
I did do the full body bidet for that. Nice. Yep. We had this bit worked out where we were talking about the full body bidet. Like if people come over to our house, because we were poor and we ran out of toilet paper, and we're like, if you come over to our house, like we have this thing, the full body bidet. You just gotta take your pants off, stand at the back of the shower, and just reach up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I came up with that because we ran out of toilet paper, and I was like, oh, we just, people can use the full body bidet. Yeah, fuck.
I forgot about that until right now. That is awful.
We were very
That's
poor.
Fantastic.
We were so poor. Okay, so back to the growing up in a southern fucking environment. So Haley, you're from Missouri, and Jack, you're from Georgia. So what do you think like having that like southern influence has had on like your music or your creative process?
I'll go first. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think growing up in Missouri really steeped me in some good country music. My parents both were professional musicians at some point in their lives, but always country or Christian artists. And so I grew up with a lot of just really great music around me that I don't know if I would have gotten anywhere else. And I think it really helped me know what I liked in terms of music and what I thought was good country music versus what we both hate on in our spare time. But I think being around really grounded culture was nice for me as a kid. I liked growing up in Missouri. Even though I talk about this town sucks, I try to joke that it's about Independence, which is the nearest slightly bigger town than Liberty. Because I offend everybody in Liberty when I say it's about Liberty. So, yeah, I don't know. I like growing up in Liberty. Yeah.
I didn't listen to country music until a couple years ago. My parents weren't into it. We did Southern rock, so we did like Allman Brothers and Leonard Skinner and that kind of stuff. When I was in Georgia, because my mom's from Miami, my dad's from New York, so we just rejected like almost like everything Southern we could. Like we did monster trucks and like tried NASCAR, just couldn't get into it. We weren't fishing people. Like we just couldn't get into the vibe down there. And I fought my entire life to never say y'all. I still don't say it. I just didn't like everything around me until I moved out here. And I missed some of it. And like coincidentally, I was in Austin for a stand-up show with Todd Glass, and I was on Spotify. I was listening to my Jimmy Buffett stuff, and a song called Drinking Problem came on by Midland. I went, "Whoa, what the hell is this?" And I just listened to everything else Midland had. And I went, "These guys freaking rule! What is this? Is this what country music is? This is what I've been ignoring? Oh shit!" So then I just went in deep on all their influences, and then fell in love fast. But I always hated the pop country. That's what I hated so much. And there's good stuff every once in a while, but like most of the stuff that's playing on the radio, I wanna die.
Yeah, no, we crap on bro country quite a bit here. Like the snap beats and then like the singy talky thing, man, it drives me crazy.
Girl, you got those long legs and you're tanned up and you're right in the back of my pickup.
Yep.
It's just like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yep.
And that's every song on the goddamn radio.
No,
It's every song. You guys go party mode?
Oh god. Oh god.
That's there's a big country music culture here. Like there's a big country music festival outside of Calgary here in town, and it's all bro country. Every year it's either Luke Bryan or Florida Georgia Line. Every single year people eat it up, but it's never clicked with me.
But it's also really funny because I will say Calgary has a really strong singer-songwriter influence
That's true
here.
as well, yeah.
You know, like we do have really good country artists from like literally just outside of the city. Like we got Core Blund, we got Paul Brandt. We got like, you know, some of these really amazing singer-songwriters. And then, I mean, shout out to Saskatchewan, and especially Southern Saskatchewan. We got Coulter Wall now, who is, I think, arguably one of the best country artists going right now.
Damn right, yeah. Even Orville Peck, too.
Where's Shania from, Haley? Isn't she Canada?
Yeah,
She's in
she's
Canada.
from
You don't have to
Ontario.
be from the South to be good at country.
No,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, she's from Ontario. Timmins,
Yeah.
Ontario. Shania Twain's from.
Yep.
Yeah, Orville Peck,
One of my
too. I
favorite
really like
country.
his stuff.
Yeah, Orville Peck is great.
Yeah.
Also, he was supposed to play Calgary Folk Fest a few years ago when the pandemic happened. It was supposed to be Orville Peck and the National as the headliners, and I was like,
that's a good line.
oh, that would have been so fucking good. Okay, so getting back to your songwriting here, when you get an idea for a song, how long does it take you from like how long is the process from spark of an idea, like maybe a line or just a premise, to having a completed song?
I guess it just depends on the song for us. For some of the songs, like All Hat No Cattle, one of our songs, I think I wrote the lyrics in maybe 30 minutes.
Wow.
And I brought him to Jack, and Jack liked him. He tweaked him a little bit. We got some input, and then it took us maybe like 8 months to get the music where we wanted it to be to match the lyrics. So it just,
Couldn't figure
I don't know.
out it at all. Like,
Yeah,
no idea.
yeah, it was just it had to be with a full band. And once we got the full band with the pedal steel and the drums and the bass in, we kind of were like, oh, we're realizing what this song needs to be. But other songs we've written like in an afternoon. Sometimes it takes a couple weeks. It just depends. Yeah. I don't know if you have anything to add.
I honestly feel like all the songs that we like and like to play, like, were written, like, I think the idea would come and they were like, I can't stop writing until this thing's done. I think that's like, I think all the songs in our recent set list have been that, because the ones that we labor over and stuff were just like, there's something not clicking and it's not coming through very clear for some reason. I think that's why we have that big folder of nothing. It's just like, maybe one day we'll come back to these songs and the inspiration will come. But I think a lot of it, and Tom Petty talks about it, everyone talks about it, it's like the songs just hit you like a bolt of lightning and you're like, oh shit, that's what it is. And you just have to, you follow it and you'll have like a rough draft. You might tweak, you might change a line, you might like alter the bridge. But like generally it's kind of all done in like that, which is the song, Bruce Springsteen's song, Dancing in the Dark. That song only exists is because they were like, okay, you only have 9 songs on this record, you need a 10th. And he's like, well, come on, you can't start a fire without a spark. And he's like, oh. And then he just wrote that whole song, which is about, I can't come up with a fucking song. The whole song is he can't come up with a song, and he wrote one of the best songs ever.
That is amazing, because that's a throwback to our very first episode.
Yeah, we did Born in the USA, our first episode.
Our very first episode.
Hey.
Heck yeah.
Oh, so you just mentioned All Hat No Cattle. And so I'm going to jump ahead here because that was honorably mentioned in the May and June edition of American Songwriter. So how did it feel to get that kind of recognition? Like, you know, like you said, it's only been a couple of years that you guys have been a group. So how did it feel to get that kind of recognition early? Like, what did that do for your confidence and your creative process?
I think it was definitely a confidence boost and an indication that we were moving in the right direction by doing this project. I think it was just some outside validation that we had a good idea for doing this stuff. And I think it was a surprise to get it at all. There's a lot of people who enter those contests. I entered on a whim. I don't even know if I told you I was entering it, Jack. And
nope,
we just
you just said, hey, this thing got nominated. You're like, what? Cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I was looking for any sort of feedback we could get from our music and our lyrics and stuff. And I don't know. I think we've entered into a couple of different songwriting competitions where they give you extensive feedback, and we haven't heard back yet. But I do think it's useful to just have people who are doing the thing give you input on your stuff too. I think collaboration in general is really a nice part of this art form that we attempt.
Because we're also not really precious with our ideas. We're both from comedy, so we're like, okay, if it doesn't work, then let's go find the thing that works. Like, you can't just harp on the same thing over and over. So we're totally fine. Like, this line doesn't work, boom, gone. This chord doesn't make sense, gone. Or this whole song just doesn't fucking make sense. Okay, whatever. We'll write another one.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I had something to add. All hat, no cattle. Well, we've submitted other songs and haven't done as well. But that song's like really like critical. I'm like, I wish my truck is bigger isn't gonna win shit. Like that's not gonna be a Grammy Award winning song.
I disagree personally.
I relate quite a bit. I drive a small pickup truck. It hit me a little hard. Honestly, I had a bit of a crisis personally.
Yeah, Aaron a few weeks ago got fucking stuck and then had to come back and hang out here for a few hours until the tow truck
I got
came.
stuck on a hill in my fucking pickup truck because it was icy. Yeah, I just started rolling backwards. Yeah, it was miserable.
So then he came back and we played Mario Kart because he couldn't drive for real in that moment.
Yeah, I had to work on my driving.
Okay, so I want to ask this question, and it's kind of a bigger one, but like your music, like you obviously have like inspiration and influence from some of the country legends, but you have like tinges of like 90s composition in there, and it's like that early 90s like really cool fucking sound. Mm-hmm. So what would you say are your like big musical influences?
Jack, you want to take this one first?
Yeah, well, I got my Southern rock background, so I got all those rockin' guys, but also before I was playing country, I delved deeply into blues music, and I have a sketch about it, and I wrote about a blues guy who has had a wonderful life and has no songs to sing about. He has no sadness. And then in the sketch, entire family burns to death, and he finally has a song.
Nice.
So when I wrote that, I didn't know anyone who could do anything blues related, so I just had to act in it. I think I'm a terrible actor, but I had to do it. There's literally no one else who could have done that stupid role. So I got into really guitar soloing, but then when I started hearing country soloing, it's a whole different animal. It's nuts. You're using all the fingers. It's called hybrid picking or chicken picking. And like Brent Mason's like the guy. So like anything in the 90s, you mentioned 90s country, you're going to hear that twang that. It's like two dudes. It's Brent Mason and I forget the other guy's name, but it's like just those guys. Brent Mason is the number one most recorded guitarist in Nashville because he can do that sound. And so everyone else is just trying to rip him off, me included. So that's why so many songs sound similar, because you have the same guitarist playing on every record. Every Brooks and Dunn album is Brent Mason.
Really?
He's even played with Shania. Literally just go look this guy up. You're going to be like, holy shit, this guy's on everything.
That's interesting.
Totally. And I think for me, the 90s influence comes in because that's when I was growing up, and that's what was pop country music at the time. I think like Martina McBride and Shania and Carrie Underwood, even into the early 2000s, were staples in my bedroom and my boombox. And so I think there's those kind of influences. And then we have the older ones that my parents really imparted on me with Dolly Parton and some of these bigger, older names, Loretta Lynn, and their trio album with Emmylou Harris, Linda Ronstadt, and Dolly. We're all just constantly in the background growing up, so I think they steep into our music whether or not we want them to.
Well, it's so funny
because we're kind of doing the comedy thing. We like to think we're kind of like a hybrid, where it's like, the lyrics are funny, but the music's still good. So even if you don't, I'm terrible at picking up lyrics. So even if you listen to the song, you're like, this is just a good song. I have no idea what it's about. And then afterwards, like, what are you talking about? He's talking about being broken up with in the carpool lane. This guy doesn't make any sense. But so that lends us to be able to just make fun of all the different categories of country. So we have bluegrassy sounding songs. We have old school country sounding songs. We have pop country songs. We have the whole gamut, because we like songs in all the categories, and because we're kind of making fun of some of the tropes, but also loving the tropes at the same time. So we can just really pick any decade. But because 90s were an influence, we're probably gonna have a lot of kind of like rocky influence on some of the songs.
Yeah, well, and I think it's funny, like the country artists that you mentioned, Haley, like the 90s country artists, those are ones that I also grew up with. Like my mom was, blaring that stuff in the vehicle, but I was listening the other day to I'm All Right by, you know who I'm talking about?
Jody Messina.
Jody Messina.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, I think
Great
that
song.
might be the first country rap like crossover, because like she is spitting fucking bars in that song. Like everything up until the chorus is just like one long ass line, and you're just like, holy crap. And then she gets into the chorus and she's like belting out an absolute like banger of a chorus. But it's so funny because like even those artists, looking at the early 90s artists or mid 90s artists, they even had a lot of influence in other genres, but they did it in a way that was like, I think now it's more so that country artists are trying to be on the pop charts, whereas back then country artists took inspiration from other, genres, and then they ended up in the pop charts just because the music was good. Like you mentioned Brooks and Dunn, Jack, and like Brooks and Dunn, I mean, fuck me. I can't put on a Brooks and Dunn album and not like actually get into it, because like there's so many bangers on every album. You have like you have My Maria, you have Red Dirt Road, you've got Neon Moon, you've got these amazing songs that are all sprinkled across so many different albums that all have different inspirations. Like Neon Moon definitely has that like almost like late 70s jazz influence to it, where you're getting like this like ballad-esque idea of like romanticizing a bar. It's fucking beautiful.
Absolutely. And I think what I love personally about country music is that it was created by people who didn't know what they were doing. Like back in the day, it was people brought over their fiddles from Ireland and playing these classical kind of songs or the Celtic music. And then they got here and they maybe didn't know how to learn it or to teach it. So they just taught it to themselves and they figured out, and they created this country sound and this fiddle and this weird lack of technique, right? But it lends itself to like you can put anything into country, you can do anything with it. Brooks and Dunn do it. It really, any influences can come in because it was just people doing what they could figure out and knew how to do, or were taking things that they heard and putting it into songs. And so I think I like continuing that tradition a little bit personally.
And then also, the only reason electric guitars exist is because of country western swing, because they're playing these huge halls and they can't amplify their acoustic guitars without getting a shit ton of feedback. So Leo Fender figured out how to just do like electronic pickups and made the Telecaster essentially. And so the Telecaster is a pure country guitar, and he made every other model of guitar and everyone just started copying them and whatever. But that was just because of country western swing and needed to be heard in the back. So country electric guitars exist, which is kind of wild.
That's insane.
You wouldn't think they came from country.
Yeah.
No, and then and country started in like freaking LA too. Like it's a West Coast baby. Electric guitars West Coast.
That puts an end to the East Coast West Coast argument.
Yeah, the whole rap beef is done too.
It's done.
Yeah, that just
Yeah.
You just made so much peace in the world. I'm gonna give you a prize, the Nobel Peace Prize.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask just a couple more questions for you guys here. You've already, in like the short time you've been together, played some absolutely fucking incredible shows. And two of which I need to bring up is the Ryman Auditorium and the Bluebird Cafe, because both of those are iconic, but to be able to do both wasn't it the same night? That's nuts. That's actually crazy.
One weekend, yeah.
One weekend. What the hell?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We both felt it was crazy too. I think it was wild that it happened that way. Yeah, I still can't believe that it happened.
Yeah, I mean, we started doing this thing, and then I was talking to Forrest about it, and he's like, you should open for Jim at the Ryman. I'm like, you think he'll let us? He goes, yeah, I think so. Just invite him to like your next show, and then I'll pump you guys up, because Forrest heard us in like an Instagram story once, like, you guys sound great. What the hell? So then we got on this show at the hotel cafe called Writer's Block, which is like a singer-songwriter showcase, which is kind of what the Bluebird Cafe does. And we did 3 songs. Jim loved it. The crowd really enjoyed it. And then like the next day on Jim's podcast, he asked me if we wanted to open for him at the Ryman. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I won't pay you. Okay. I won't pay for your flights. Okay. And I won't pay for your hotel. You still want to do it? Yes. So we figured it out. All of our families flew out because they're like, the Ryman? Okay. And then Haley just emailed the Bluebird like, hey, you got any open slots? They're like, no.
Yeah, they basically, I emailed them some of our music and they were just like, we don't have any open spots. Sorry, you need to book way in advance. And I was like, okay, cool. Keep us in mind if there's a cancellation. And then like 2 weeks before, they called us up and they were like, there was a cancellation. Are you guys still interested? And I think you just get stuff if you ask.
But wasn't it like, we were in Nashville when we got the email, I think.
Oh, maybe it was. Maybe it was like 3 or 4 days before.
I think it was like the day of the Ryman or something. We got the email going, hey, we got a cancellation. You guys still in? Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, truly.
I remember I was like on Broadway and the email came in and I was with my family and you were with yours. So I called you and said, Haley, look at your goddamn email. Look at the fucking email. Look at the email. Like, oh, fuck. And then we had to tell our parents that they couldn't get in because it was already sold out.
It was wild. Yeah. We made friends with Steve Goody, the guy who hosts the songwriter show, and he's coming out here in LA in a couple of months, and so we're going to do a joint show with him when he does at the Hotel Cafe in April, which will be fun. But it was just yeah.
I think we talk out tomorrow, Haley. I think we should put the football one out tomorrow, just so it's more timely. But we have a song called "I Don't Know About Football," which was we wrote it with kind of my mother's point of view in mind, which is like the husband's just always fucking watching football because there's always a fucking game on, and it's all day. This is my mom's complaints every time I call her when she goes home. So we wrote this song about not giving a fuck about football because whoever the husband character is in the song doesn't pay any attention to the wife. And so we performed that at Bluebird. It was like, okay, this is kind of a weird concept of a song. And it was pretty funny because we shout out, hey, who here's a football fan? The place erupts.
Shocker. And
then we go, is anyone not a fan of football? And 7 very firm voices, all wives, went, fuck football, yeah, screw football, woo! Like, okay, great, this is for you, 7. And we play it. We have a swear word in it, and he's like, I think we should censor it. I'm like, screw it, they know what they're getting into. We opened for Jim Jeffries.
It's the only swear word in any of our songs, though, I have to say.
We say shit and fix it.
Yeah, okay.
Shit. You're the only one swearing. I write all the swear words for you. I write angry songs. And
Jack is too much of a sweet boy to swear.
Yeah, exactly. The line is, every single day is always the same because every single day there's another fucking game. And I think wraps up the concept of that song so well in like 2 lines. We're like, you have to swear. If you don't swear, it doesn't get the anger across. So Haley swore away all the confidence in the world. And then when we get off stage, the host gets back up there and it's like, yeah, you're not supposed to say any of those words. It's supposed to be a family-friendly show, but we'll just pretend it didn't happen.
But then there was like, you want to tell this part of the story?
No, you go. I'm emphasizing you over the video.
There was a songwriting legend at the show because they always close their songwriter nights with somebody who's written #1 hits. And the guy's name, Roger, what's his last name, Jack? Do you remember?
Cook.
It's escaping me right now. Roger Cook. There we go. Roger Cook, who's written #1 hits for George Strait and Crystal Gale. He wrote the Coke song that's like, I'd like to give the world a Coke. But they took the song from him. He'd written the original song. But he pulled us aside after the show was over and he was like, I like that you guys used that fuck word. So he was very encouraging. We were cursing.
Validating.
Yeah.
Okay, I just have one more.
He was great.
One more question to ask you before we get into the album here. Okay, so I've been watching a lot of your guys' covers. And the one that I saw that I think it was a recent upload, PMS Blues by Dolly Parton, which, by the way, fucking amazing song. But you guys nailed that song, and the video is so fucking funny. Like I'm not gonna spoil it, but everybody needs to watch it. But one thing that I was gonna say is that like that song, I felt that one really showed off your vocal range, Haley, and Bloodsucker showed off Jack's instrumentation ability. So I just had to throw that one in there because I just remembered it. But the guitar solo is fucking cool. But to get back to it, what made you guys want to cover Dolly Parton?
Heck yeah. That song is Dolly's my biggest influence probably. I think she's just amazing in everything she does. She's the nicest human being. She acts, she sings, she dances, she raises money for kids and gives books to millions of American children. She's just an angel on earth. And so we already were looking to her songs just for our own influences. And I think PMS Blues was one I hadn't heard. And when I heard it, I just got really excited. I was like, how have I not heard this Dolly song? I've heard every single Dolly song. And this one is one I didn't know until this past year. And I took it to Jack and I just said, I want to do this one. Yeah, that's pretty much the story of that guy.
I was like, oh yeah, nail that blues guitar. I got that shit down. I know that whole rhythm section like the back of my hand. It is kind of funny that you bring up. I mean, it's something that's like, it slightly bugs me, but I know this is just how life is. Because it's like everyone will just go, Haley's voice is amazing, and Jack, you got a guitar, man. I'm like, all right, I do have a guitar. But Haley's voice is fucking amazing. I'm just lucky. I was lucky she wants to perform with me.
I can't play guitar like you at all, and you're a great singer too.
I'm passable. I can hit notes sometimes. I think I figured out the songs I'm pitchy on. It's a new theory I have, Haley. You're hearing this live, folks.
Oh boy,
when
boy.
we have chord changes underneath the lyrics, I find I'm pitchier because I think I'm having to adjust with the chord changes versus like let's see, like HOV, where it's like one, like the verse line is all one chord and then the next line is a whole different chord, and I can hit those notes a lot better. Maybe because my brain's not switching constantly when I'm switching my hands, so it's just something to work on, I guess. But it's something I thought about in the shower today. We'll see how accurate it is. But it's a theory.
I like that theory. I mean, it is harder when you're patting your head and rubbing your tummy, right? You're doing all the things at once. It's I can't take guitar solos or fills like Jack can in songs because I my voice just won't keep singing. So I think that's why.
I don't know how Haley does fiddle and sing at the same time. Like that's a whole other feat too.
Sometimes I don't know how that happens either. I think it's just luck. But, I don't know. It's nice. I think we just balance each other well. We both help each other, bring each other up on things that we both want to work on, which, I mean, Jack's singing since we started even. I'm just like blown away at your voice cracks and how you've manipulated your voice and learned to do it because you really didn't sing before we decided we wanted to do this.
Voice crack. It's not the accidental puberty voice crack.
It's like the purposeful voice cracks, the country twangs. Yeah, exactly. There is a distinction.
Okay.
Well, I love how your voice is always breaking on songs. Yeah.
I wanna just say before we get into the album, everybody should go subscribe to the Doohickeys YouTube because that's where you guys post the most tracks, it seems, either covers or originals. So please go check out the Doohickeys. Also, go and like and save the songs on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever you're listening to, and just put them on repeat.
Yeah, get a VPN and run it in the background for hours and hours and hours and hours.
And you know what? Add in my album "Loser by Choice" as well, just to help boost everyone.
Fuck you!
Okay?
Fuck you! It's not about you,
We
Spencer.
gotta get Owen Benjamin off the algorithm, man. We gotta hook other things in.
Yeah, we can collaborate.
Yeah, while you're at it, get a VPN as well and play Misfits on vinyl. We love finding.
Yeah, this podcast.
Yeah, play our podcast on repeat, even if it's the same episode 14 times. We appreciate it.
That would actually help the algorithm.
Yeah. It
Okay.
would.
So on Misfits on Vinyl, every week we review an album.
We sure do.
Sometimes it's one of our favorites. Sometimes it's a popular one. Sometimes it hits the Venn diagram of all three. And when we have guests on, we're like, hey, what album do you want to cover? Because that helps us expand our own musical knowledge. And as connoisseurs of music, we constantly need to do that.
Yes.
So, the album that we are going to be reviewing this week is Kacey Musgraves' Pageant Material.
Woo! Oh, he's got it on vinyl. Woo!
Oh, shit. Jack's got it on vinyl. That's amazing.
I came prepared.
Very nice. Very nice. We don't have it on vinyl. We're just going to put it in post.
Yeah, we're going to put it in post. It's going to look like the vinyl is here.
Like right now.
It's there now.
Wow.
Through the magic of post-production.
I don't know how that keeps happening every single episode.
I don't know. It's weird. It's
Yeah,
weird when we
it's
don't have an
weird.
album that it just shows up,
Yeah, it's
honestly.
strange.
Okay, so Kacey Musgraves' Pageant Material. I'm going to get into about the album here right off the top. It was released June 23rd, 2015 through Mercury Nashville. It is her second studio album, and it's a modern country album with some retro swing to it. It's got vocals that are more traditional, but it's also incorporating banjo, steel guitar, and some wind without being bro country. Musgraves co-wrote all 13 tracks and co-produced the album with Luke Laird and Shane McAnally. Or McAnally? McAnally. McAnally. There we go. I said McAnally.
It spelled like McAnally.
It is spelled like McAnally.
the old dollar menu from McDonald's. The old
McAnally.
McAnally. You can only get it at the back door.
All I know is that when I go to McDonald's, I can't have any McAnally.
No.
It's a little
Definitely.
little risky back there.
Yeah, yes.
Fucking hell.
Anyways,
It doesn't help that I'm illiterate.
one thing I did want to say about this album, you briefly touched on it, so it brought it to my mind, is that she wrote, all the songs, and it feels very genuine. I know she's from a small town, and the topic she's talking about is small town, but it actually felt like, she lived those experiences. Sometimes you listen to albums, there's like 15 fucking writers, and the person singing about it, you're like, I don't really believe it. You believe it. You believe it the whole way through. I mean, the little specific things she talks about, I mean, you can only live those sort of things. Like, so, I really appreciate about this album itself.
Oh, yeah. No, I totally agree.
Yeah, she grew up in a trailer park in Texas, I think. It's like Roland, Texas, and she...
Was it Golden?
Golden. Yeah.
That might be what it is. Golden. Yeah. And she grew up, she lived it. I think that's what makes Dolly and Loretta Lynn such staples that stick around, is they also lived it. And I think Kacey's one of those people who is really good at translating her experience into song, which I love. Yeah.
And also to speak about the writing on it, because she obviously, like we've talked about, she's lived that experience, so it makes it a lot more clear. But she's also working with two of the best country songwriters that are going right now. Like Luke Laird, I wrote this down. Luke Laird has written 20 Billboard #1 singles.
Wow. Including
Eric Church's Drink in My Hand, Give Me Back My Hometown, Kenny Chesney's American Kids, Rodney Atkins' Take a Back Road. He was a 6-time Country Music Association award winner, 2-time Grammy winner, both with Kacey Musgraves, and a 6-time nominee. And his first job in the industry was as an assistant tour manager for Brooks and Dunn.
That's cool.
Which,
All right.
throwing it back to what we were already talking about. And then the other producer and songwriter on this album, Shane McAnally, is a producer, songwriter, and he had success in the late 90s with his single Are Your Eyes Still Blue, which peaked at number 31 on the U.S. country and number 47 on the Canadian country charts. But he's also produced for Little Big Town, Old Dominion, Kelly Clarkson, and John Legend, and is a songwriting mentor.
And Maitland.
Pardon?
And Wheeler Walker Jr.
Wait, really?
Yeah, dude, he's the best producers in town. He's made all of my favorite records. It's nuts.
Holy shit.
We got to meet him.
That's actually so...
I know, we got to meet this guy.
Yeah, maybe this is the guy that can produce your album.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wouldn't that be the dream?
I'm just saying, if we put it out here, we are the #1 English-speaking music history podcast in Chile.
We have some pull.
We have some pull. We can help set this up.
We might be the only music history English-speaking podcast in Chile that gets any views. But yeah, we have some pull in Chile. So
Too bad Shane McAnally.
yeah. I say you start by saying his name correctly, and then that'll bring him forward. That'll bring him in on this project. That's step one.
That is step one. Okay, so McAnally.
What is he like? Halfway there. Yeah, you'll get there one day.
Okay, I'm actually now fucked because I thought it was McAnally and I was saying McAnally intentionally.
I've heard you try to say Massachusetts.
Yeah, I apparently can't say Massachusetts.
Yeah, you did now. That's good.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
good.
you did okay.
I learned. Okay, fuck me.
And I think he's one of the few gay producers, and I think he's the first gay country producer to win a Grammy or something like
Really?
that.
Wait, really?
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Well,
Go ahead. Don't say it. I was thinking the same thing. Okay, go ahead.
I'm just saying.
Go ahead.
Don't
read the paper.
Don't make a joke with the name.
Read the paper.
And his sexual preference. Don't do it. Be an adult.
I know. That's what I literally I looked him in the eyes and I saw where he was going, and that's when where you stop, Spencer. I love you, but you stop. Read the Google Drive. Read the Google Drive.
Okay, so the banjo on the album
Yes.
was Charlie Worsham, who was formerly a part of the Old Crow Medicine Show and a touring artist with Taylor Swift and Dierks Bentley.
Nice.
Steel pedal guitar was done by Paul Franklin, and this is really crazy. He began his career in the 70s as a member of Barbara Mandrell's road band, and in addition, he toured with Vince Gill, Mel Tillis, Jerry Reed, and Dire Straits.
That's cool.
Now, the craziest part about this, he's noted for bringing multiple musical innovations to the country music scene. One of these, the pedibro, is a type of dobro fitted with pedals and played like a pedal steel guitar, and it was invented by his father. And the first of many records featuring this was Forever and Ever Amen by Randy Travis. So he invented this instrument, and it went to number 1.
That's cool.
Right?
No, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Haley and I saw Stapleton.
Wait, really?
Yeah. My dad's a pedal steel guitarist. That's what he played professionally. And so I grew up steeped in Paul Franklin and all that stuff too. So it's fun to see that his career is so long and that he is really he's so good in everything that he does. He's the guy. You want to use Paul.
If you listen to the Midland song, Mr. Lonely, the lead singer Mark will yell, "Play that steel, Paul," and then the solo comes in.
Wow, so he's like he's that
Rules.
deep into the like country history.
He's like the
guy.
legend.
He's like
yeah.
That's fucking incredible.
It's nice to have that little extra insight because we do some basic research and but if we're not always familiar, it's nice to have a little bit of a more insight into that. That's cool.
It also helps that these two are smart and we're not.
That's true.
So that helps.
That also helps exponentially.
It's-
Just a big word to assert my intelligence.
If we were smart, we'd be doing or something like that doesn't require like us to invest everything. We're not that smart.
Fair enough.
I mean, that's fair.
We know
We're
everything.
only doing a podcast about music history, and we know a lot.
Yeah.
Like, we learned stuff today, for instance.
Yeah.
Like, we learned that Paul Franklin is the guy.
Yeah.
And we learned that Shane McAnally
Yes.
is the first
guy.
gay producer
The
in
other
country
guy.
music to win a Grammy.
Yeah. See? We retain knowledge.
It's great.
We learned things. Okay, so the album debuted at number 3 on the U.S. Billboard 200 chart with 60,000 units sold, and it sold 55,000 in its first week. What the fuck are you guys laughing at?
Never mind. Go ahead.
Okay, Jesus, that threw me off. What is going
I
on?
apologize. Our producer just ripped a gnarly fart.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It looked like you farted.
Glad we're
Sorry,
here.
I apologize.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was a sneeze. Okay, continue.
Yeah, it was a sneeze that came out of his back.
Yeah.
I apologize. Sorry, guys. There's nothing like a good fart to make me laugh. Like every once in a while, you just need one.
Holy fucking shit.
Okay, go ahead. You want me to read?
No, I got it. Don't worry. Okay.
Real professional outfit we are.
Fuck me. And we're back.
Clip
All
it.
right. Love those ads.
Yeah, Manscaped. Manscaped's great.
Dude, these squatty potty ads are getting
The
ridiculous.
squatty potties.
Okay, so fuck you guys.
My
God
head-
damn it.
My head hurts. I was laughing so hard.
Okay. Okay, so the title track from the Sophomore album Pageant Material, which we're talking about, the idea, it uses the idea of pageant competitions to humorously recall Musgraves' expectations growing up in the South, not fitting in with how young Southern girls were expected to act, probably not farting. And in a more literal interpretation, it also connects to Musgraves' early days on stage looking like a dime store cowgirl in a kids band, encountering stage moms and their spotlight groomed children. What I think is insane is like a lot of those songs, obviously I'm not a girl from the South, but I relate to a lot of the music that was on this album. And I was really happy that you picked this because a lot of times, when we have guests that pick an album, like we do learn about the album, but this one was one that was completely off my radar, and finding it was actually a joy because I was able to I was doing my dishes today, and I realized I've listened to the album 5 times and I know most of the words to the song, and I could relate to so many different things. Dime Store Cowgirl is so relatable to me because I'm I moved away from that small ass town and then moved to a big city, and fucking you do kind of find yourself when you get out of your comfort zone.
Well, I was driving over here and I was like, I'm still a girl from Golden, gotta move away so I can. I fucking love that song. No, I had the similar experience. I grew up in a smaller province here in Canada, up on the East Coast, and we grew up in a small town, and then we moved out here when I was, 11 years old, and I had my eyes open to the big city. Similar experience. So it kind of brought me back to, growing up and fishing and fucking doing the things you do in Newfoundland, right? So,
I can't look at you right now. I'm gonna start laughing again.
It's okay.
Fuck. Okay, I'm so sorry.
I'm being earnest. Fuck me.
Okay. Some of her influences on this album include Marty Robbins, Glenn Campbell, Jim Croce, Charlie Pride, and Loretta Lynn, who she previously had opened for. Okay, I don't know how deep you guys are into Marty Robbins and Charlie Pride type stuff, but my fucking god, Strawberry Roan is one of my favorite songs of all time. It's got to be in my top 10. And Charlie Pride's Kiss an Angel Good Morning, it's just such a sweet song that I don't know. What is your experience with those artists?
Yeah, my dad played them growing up a lot. I think big fans of all of Kacey's influences, and I think that's what I think what she does nicely is she takes kind of the relatability that all of these people write about in their songs, and then she adds another layer of funny and subverting the cliches that you might come about that might enter her songs. She always takes a cliche and then she undermines it in a really funny way. And so I think, you hear that, you hear all of those influences in her, and I love that.
Yeah, one of my favorite lines she has is in, I think it's Biscuits. It's pouring salt in my sugar won't make yours any sweeter. And I don't know if that's an actual turn of phrase, but I love whatever the hell it is. Mm-hmm. And she has another version. It's close, and she flips something else in that song. But she has some amazing lyrics in there that just are inspiring.
Yeah, honestly, Biscuits was
She's
just
really good.
Such a fucking uplifting song where you're it doesn't really matter what anybody else is doing. I don't know. I guess this is kind of a question for you guys. Do you find I've found in the past probably year, I've gotten better as an artist because I've stopped giving a shit what anybody else is doing, and I've just been having fun. And it's amazing how that song, I immediately was holy shit, I know exactly what this feeling is, and I'm glad that it's actually something that somebody else is verbalizing.
Yeah, I think she's one of those people who does exactly what she wants to do, and that's why I think she's been so successful, is that on her first freshman album that came out, Same Trailer, Different Park, the label wanted her to lead with a different song than she did, which the lead song from that was a song called Merry-Go-Round. And she was insistent that she lead with that song and that be the single from it. And it blew up, and it was what really gave her the start of her career because she was so certain and had so much belief behind the song that she'd written. And I think she continues to do that in Pageant Material. She's got a song called The Good Old Boys Club, where she's directly taking hits at Big Machine and Don't Want to Be a Part of Your Big Machine, and which is a huge record label out of Nashville. And so she's really just kind of doing whatever she wants, and she doesn't care that it like might impact the way that Nashville record labels look at her or whatever it is. I think she's
for the Grammy consideration. Like, she's not considered country anymore according to the Grammys.
Well, she's writing great music that's resonating with people. So, yeah.
Don't care.
I was familiar
Who cares?
with Golden Hour, and then I hadn't listened to any of her other stuff. So this was a nice surprise for me too. And even touching on those same sort of topics, like Cup of Tea is the same thing. Talking about be who you want to be. Like you could be too bitter, you could be too sweet. Like who cares? Just be yourself. Might as well make the tea the way you like it, because it doesn't matter what the hell anybody else thinks. Right?
It feels like the entire album pretty much.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm just gonna be whoever the hell I am. And late to the party is, I'm late. The party's over, and I don't care because I'm with you. Pageant Materials. I'm who I'm gonna be. Yeah, everything is just like, fuck you. This is who I am. That's like every song on this album. Now I'm looking at it.
But she sings it so
Truly,
nicely.
I didn't maybe catch that through line beforehand, but it really is. I think what makes her such a fun artist too is that she is staying so true to herself and leaning into the jokes and the weird quirkiness of her own person. So, yeah.
And weed.
And weed. She has a lot of weed references in all of her stuff.
My hair's never
She
as high
smoked
as
weed
I
before.
am made me laugh really hard.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, I fucking relate, sister. Yeah.
Canada.
Okay, so let's get into the about the artist here. I just have a few points about her that I thought were really interesting. So we've already mentioned, like, she grew up in Golden, Texas.
Like 200 people live there, yeah.
Yeah, like very similar to like my hometown of like 500 people. My graduating high school class was 5 kids. So very fucking
What the hell?
yeah. And
Teeny tiny.
the nice thing is though, I can always say that I graduated top 5 in my class.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. What an accomplishment.
That is where I can pat myself on the back. And I won a bunch of scholarships
number 5?
too, because nobody else applied. And that was the only reason. It wasn't because I was smart. It was because the other people that I graduated with were lazy. That's all.
Spell scholarship.
Oh, fuck you. Scholarship. S-C-H-L. No. Wait. No, there is an O there. S-C-H-O.
Yeah.
L-A-R.
You got it.
S-H-I-P-S. Okay, honestly, if it wasn't for spell check, I would be so bad.
You just convinced me you earned those scholarships.
I really did earn them.
Yeah, you did.
It's really bad
They
when...
say spelling has. I was just saying they say spelling has nothing to do with intelligence, is what I've heard as someone who also can't spell. But I use that as a badge of honor.
Exactly.
Okay.
Who does that? People who can't fucking spell? That doesn't make any sense.
I'm possibly dyslexic, so you never know.
I feel like I am a little bit dyslexic because when I'm looking at names, when we write them down, I'm not gonna lie, I have to space them out sometimes to actually figure out how they're said.
I told you the story about I was at work and my coworker was reading my handwriting. And she was like, "Are you dyslexic?" She's like, "My daughter has dyslexia, and your writing looks just like hers." I'm like, "No, I'm a 24-year-old grown-ass man. like, I just have like bad." She was like, "Yeah, you look like you have dyslexia." I was like, "Should I go get tested?" Like, I had a bit of a crisis there too. First it was my truck, then it was my writing.
Oh God,
It's been an emotional couple of days.
Haley's been saying that the only reason the font Comic Sans exists is because it's for dyslexic people.
Yeah, that's what I wrote
great
on my
font
university
for those of
papers.
us who-
then.
well, you know what? I didn't know that before. That's fucking incredible.
Makes sense.
It's why everybody hates on the font, but it's actually a useful one, especially for notes home to children from their first grade teachers and stuff like that.
Okay,
That's what I associate it with.
This is not a. Excuse me. Oh God, that was gross.
Yeah, it was.
God, that came from a deep part inside me.
Nice.
This is not necessarily a topic for
All the air expulsion today.
God, everybody is just gassy right now. This is a gassy room.
Yeah.
We're fucking exploding.
Crack a window.
God damn it.
This is for you, Kacey.
Oh God. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Fucking
Move on.
Okay, so she was her dad is the owner of a small printing business, M Prints Printing Inc. in Minola, Texas. Shout out to M Prints Printing Inc. for all your printing needs. And Karen Musgraves, her mother was an artist. So she stated that she was born 6 weeks prematurely and weighed only 5 pounds. And she has one younger sister who is a photographer.
Oh, cool.
So she began songwriting at 8 years old, learned how to play music on the mandolin, which, funny enough, that was my first instrument too. And then at 12, she started taking guitar lessons from a local musician named John DeFore, who she later described as one of the most important things that ever happened to her. Along with another one of the students in the school she went to, Elena Tatum, she was a part of a children's country music duo, Texas Two Bits, which toured through Texas and released an independent album in the year 2000.
Wow.
So she's literally been in the
that.
industry her whole life.
I never knew that.
That's awesome. I had no clue that happened, that she had a child album. She did. That's great.
Not only one, she also had two, because then when she was 14, her parents funded her first independent album that she released solo. So then in 2006, she graduated high school and moved to Austin, Texas, to pursue music there. And honestly, Austin is kind of like Calgary in a lot of ways, where there is a vibrant scene in the arts, but it's very secular, right? People can blow up there and be known in that area, but
which we touched on quite a bit with we did a Towns Van Zandt episode. Same sort of thing. He was really big in Texas, big in Austin, and it took his whole life to really blow up outside of that sphere, right?
Yeah, he had to take a poncho and a left turn to get there.
Yeah, nice.
Oh,
nice.
Okay, I'm proud of that one.
Nice.
Okay, so in 2007, she competed on season 5 of the singing competition Nashville Star, where she placed 7th. Shortly after that, she was discovered professionally while living in Austin by producer Monty Robinson for his independent record label Triple Pop. She collaborated with the Josh Abbott Band in 2010 on the song Oh Tonight, and then did 2 acoustic recordings for Triple Pop. One was a cover of One Republic's Apologize, and the other was a cover of Miley Cyrus's See You Again. They were both hits online, and the Apologize cover ended up becoming number 3 on the Billboard charts and racked up 31 million streams on Spotify.
Wow.
So
Dang.
she blows up for a cover of a pop song that honestly is pretty fucking bad, but the cover is good.
There you go. I don't hate that song.
You don't hate Apologize?
No.
I personally... Okay, maybe it's because I have bad memory. There was a kid in the grade above me who fucking died when I was in
Listening
grade
to One
7.
Republic?
No, he wasn't listening.
What a way to go. They didn't even do that in Top Gun Maverick. They just played on the beach. They didn't die to One Republic.
Oh, God. No. He died, and that was when that song was popular, and he died literally a kilometer from my house. So that's like
story.
0.8 miles. I don't know the exact conversion.
Is it too late to apologize for making a joke?
No, it
sucks because he was at the top 5 of his class too.
Yeah. Oh, God.
He was gonna be top 5.
Actually, his class had 10 students.
Oh, there you go.
He would have.
Wow.
He would have been top 10.
Honestly, still top 10.
Well, we know he came in 10th place, so that's good.
God,
That's just default.
I really hope his family isn't listening, because then they lost 2 more children a few years later.
Oh no! Oh no! Let's moving on. We'll cut this. We apologize.
I don't think we have to cut it.
Is it too late to apologize? Too late. Jesus. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Shortly after that, she joined Lady A on their European tour in 2012.
Oh, yes.
Lady A being formerly Lady Antebellum. Okay, so this is a question that I have, because I don't exactly understand what was bad about Antebellum. What does Antebellum mean?
It refers to the South during the slavery period. So, when slavery was legal, it refers to just the southern area, I guess, during that time period. So it's related directly to slavery, which is probably why they changed it. Same with Dixie Chicks. Yeah. Jack was going to chime in with the Dixie Chicks stuff.
The Chicks.
Exactly.
And then Confederate Railroad had to change their name too. But I'm like, I don't know how they stayed so long with Confederate Railroad. I also don't even know who that is. I just know that's one of the names that had to change.
Yeah, that's actually super interesting because that wouldn't have been something that we learned. Like, okay, in Canada, we learn a lot of American history as it's very connected to Canadian history. But that's not one of the things that we would have known. Is
no, you don't go as in depth. I mean, we talk like the War of 1812, the Civil War, and that sort of thing. But you don't go as in depth as you probably would.
You know the key players in every one of those, but you don't know, like, you don't get the deep cuts. You don't get the lingo or the slang of the era.
Yeah, because our history is so much more.
I'm not
we
sure.
can't tell you about Canada. We don't know anything.
Okay,
honestly, growing up in Missouri, public school education around slavery was not that great either.
Oh,
so I don't know.
Honestly, public school in general is pretty fucking bad because one of the things that's been a hot topic for about a year and a half now has been like because all of these residential schools in Canada have been, they've been discovering these mass graves that have sometimes like 1,000 kids buried in a grave. Mm-hmm. And when we were in school, and the curriculum is changing now, but when we were in school, there was literally a 2-sentence line in the textbook that said, in residential schools, the students learned useful skills like agriculture, math, and sewing. And, like, that was literally it. And, like, the flip side of that, my grandma, who had been, she's Cree and had narrowly avoided that whole system, she was, like, telling me when I was a little kid, like, by the way, this is the whole thing that happened. So when that came up in like grade 11, I was like, actually, there was more to this. And then my teacher was like, no, there isn't. And I was like, there is. And she's like, no. And I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Little do you know. Okay, so her debut album, Same Trailer, Different Park, released on March 19th, 2013. And it eventually tied Taylor Swift and Lorde for most nominations for a female artist at the Grammys that year for Best New Artist, Best Country Album, and Best Country Song for both Mama's Broken Heart and Merry Go Round. Merry Go Round won the Grammy for Best Country Song, and Same Trailer, Different Park won in Best Country Album. So her debut album just fucking kills it. Like, it's critically and commercially a massive success. And then she followed that up by touring with Willie Nelson, Katy Perry, and one of her all-time inspirations, Alison Krauss.
Wait, in one tour or separately?
Separate tours. That would be a fucking cool tour.
That's a hell of a lineup.
Yeah. That would be a hell of a lineup. Lollapalooza 2012. Okay, so now we're going to get into notable tracks here.
Yep.
I only wrote down 2 because they were the 2 that charted, but I did want to bring up Trigger with Willie Nelson because that song is great, and also it's nice to see Willie kind of like taking a back seat in that song and just doing backing vocals. But the 2 tracks that we got to talk about for sure, Biscuits, which the music video for which was directed by Mark Classfield, who directed videos for everyone from Slipknot to Jay-Z. It peaked at Billboard on number 1 for Best Country Song of 2015, and it was certified gold.
Nice.
And then Dime Store Cowgirl peaked at number 44 on the Billboard Hot Country. Rough Stock named it number 3 on their top 30 singles of 2015, and she performed the song at the CMA Awards and on Kimmel.
Both great songs.
Any other tracks?
Wait, Triggers is Trigger the last song on the
It
album?
is.
Yeah.
It's the bonus track.
The hidden track. Yeah.
Bonus song. List it. Because I mean, like it goes silent for like 2 minutes and then it starts playing on the record.
Oh, that's cool.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Now for you two, are there any tracks besides the ones we mentioned that stand out to you as either one of your favorite songs from the album, or one worth talking about?
I love Family is Family, personally. That's one of my favorites on there. Just the turns of phrases of like they own too much wicker and drink too much liquor feels very accurate as someone who grew up with the family, the motto, family is family, right? You got to love your family and stand by them, and no matter what. And I think it's just nice. I like that she is playing on certain like traditional country elements and then just going wild from there. So what about you, Jack? I'm curious.
I love Biscuits, but I probably have to go. Probably just go with Late to the Party. I just love that song. It has such a simple arrangement. and I love the guitar part. It's really fun to play. I love the premise of the song. I'm not a tardy person, but I feel like that song got me in the mindset of all of my friends who are late to everything, and I understand it's true. And I'm like, you know what? I don't hate you guys anymore. That's cool. And then also the song "Cup of Tea." Go listen to that song, and then go listen to "This Town Sucks," and you're gonna hear a lot of influence.
That's actually really funny.
Direct-
I
just directly, that was our reference song. Go for it.
I think we've just ripped off the keyboard. That little like children's dinky keyboard sound. Mm-hmm. We just asked our producer, like, do you have this dinky keyboard sound? Ding ding ding. He goes, yeah, I got that. Can we just do that? Just put that in there somewhere. And Cup of Tea has that all over the place. So nice. Thanks, Kacey and Shane McAnally.
McAnally.
There you go.
McAnally. I'm saying it right now.
There you go.
All right.
There you go.
All right, so let's get into the reception. So on Metacritic, it has a 78 out of 100. And writing for Hits Daily Double, Lenny Beer and Simon Glickman called Pageant Material an album for the ages, comparing its greatness to Adele's 21 and adding, it's a nearly perfect set. Mm-hmm. Now, we got to bring up our good friend of the podcast. You know who I'm going to say?
Oh, this fucking reviewer. What's his name?
Stephen Thomas Erlewine of All Music.
Who does he review?
This guy.
This fucking guy.
Fuck this guy.
He rated the album 4 out of 5 stars.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good for him.
And he stated that Pageant Material favors softness, sometimes nearly swooning in its slowness, especially on the gorgeous keynote, High Time, and the closer, Fine. Both so deliberate and hazy, they invoke memories of lazy high school dances. So he gave a good review for once.
Yeah, that's nice. Usually this guy's a fucking twat. So he gives every album we like a shitty fucking review. So it's nice that he's on board. So way to go, fucking Steven. Way to go.
You guys should find that if you do another country album, you should look up the reviews on savingcountrymusic.com. That guy rips into everything I like. And I don't know who he is. He just started a website.
Yeah, we've had a couple beefs along the way. Like a lot of the Rolling Stone reviews we fucking have beef with. And then this guy, fucking anything he says from All Music, he can fuck himself. Except this time. This time he's good. I might have to take this back.
He's a good guy. We like
him today.
He's nice to
We like him today.
And honestly, I feel like the Doohickeys. Let's just say that we think that about him. Because if he ever reviews their music, I don't want him to fucking give you guys a shit rating because
he loves you guys.
Yeah,
you guys love him.
He's going to love you guys.
You guys love him. That's the rumor around town.
Yeah,
that's right. We love that guy.
Love him. Yeah.
Go way back.
We got a fan club.
Way back.
All right, so the album debuted at number 3 on Billboard, and it was nominated for the CMA Album of the Year and the Grammy for Best Country Album. So, pretty well received, generally favorable. Now, every episode on Misfits on Vinyl, we give the album a review out of 10, and this review comes down to the technical element, the musical element, the lyrical element, the album art, the reception, and does it hold up? On the technical element, production-wise, it's very clear, it's very crisp. It sounds like if you were taking old school country style, but recording it with current equipment and making it not sound like it's coming through a tube phone. I would say that like on the production element, I'd give it like an 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm coming in somewhere around an 8, I think.
8? What about you two?
10.
I think I'll give 8, 9, 10. I'm in the up A range. 8. I'd say 9.
I have no notes. I'm gonna give 10. Just it's gonna be 10 on everything. I have no notes for this.
Okay, perfect.
My note is that.
All right.
My note and your note, Jack. Your note is that she shouldn't have named another song "Somebody to Love." But
yeah, I agree with that. All right,
Get the calculator.
Yeah, knock that shit down. She's got to lose a point for that.
Because there's not a song called "Somebody to Love."
Well, because there's the famous Queen song. You can't name any song "Somebody to Love" after Queen knocked it out of the park. You got to come up with something else.
No, you know what? That's a valid point.
So right now we're at an 8.625.
An 8.625. Okay. On the musical element, usually I do the math in my head, but there's 4 of us, so this is going to get tricky.
I'm even struggling doing it on the calculator.
Okay, on the musical element, there's a lot of instruments on this album. Like, honestly, looking at the liner notes of it, there was a shit ton of sessional musicians coming in, sometimes to just play one instrument. But I liked that it was a modern country album that incorporated a banjo in a realistic way that wasn't just strumming it like a guitar. I really liked their incorporation of the steel guitar in this, and I liked that there was some weird elements that just came in. Or, like, for instance, on the first song, High Time, there's whistling, but it's not done in an obnoxious way. It actually adds to the song. So I'd probably go a 9 out of 10 on the musical element.
I mean, you put that really, really great, actually. I agree, most part. Yeah, I'd say, like, a lot of the guitar riffs are really, really good, too. Like, even, like, the one in, I keep talking about the song, but, it's fucking solid, like a lot of the guitar playing. So I'll go an 8, 8.5. We'll make it 8.5. Make the math fun. Sam, are you doing the math? Okay, good, good. No, I gave up. Once I got, I was like, how do I take this score and then add it up to the next score? And then, I'll go 8.5. Yeah, 8.5.
All right. What about y'all?
10.
Shocker.
I would say I love Kacey. I love her singing, but I would love her to belt a little bit more, so I'll give it a 9 out of 10 just because I want her to go a little bit more with the vocals on that album. She does on Golden Hour a bit more, I think, but that's my only critique.
Yeah,
I think that's great.
That's a really good point because, you can feel the power in her voice, but she doesn't always tap into it. I was going to talk about that, too. That reminded me of something I was thinking about. You can really feel the raw power in her voice, but she doesn't always go for it, right? So that's a really good point there.
All right, so I think we're at a 9 out of 10 right now.
I am assuming so.
Yeah, we're at a 9 out of 10.
That works.
All right, lyrically, we've talked about it, about her songwriting. Like, she obviously is speaking off of lived experiences, and she's really on this album speaking, like Jack said, to a point of view of be yourself and fuck everyone else. Just be yourself, and everything will work out. But she doesn't do it in a way that seems hokey. She does it in a way that's pretty, like, it's very genuine. It's very real. So I would rate her lyrics pretty high. I'd probably say a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, like I commented on earlier, I think there's a genuineness to what she's talking about. And I'll go with 10. I'll go with Jack on this. I'm going to 10.
Yep, I'm going for the 10, too. I think it's just perfect lyrics.
Does love fall into that, though?
Does what? Somebody to love?
Yeah.
I like that song, too. What?
No.
No. You can't like that song. If she titled it something else, I would think it was a great song. I think it's just the title that throws me off.
Yeah, maybe if she named it something. Yeah, she probably could have named it anything. To love somebody. There you go.
Nice. Good rewrite.
Okay, so right now we're at a 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm assuming so, yeah.
All right. Quick math. Album art. Okay, I think that it's really well done. Do I think that it's something that would catch my eye if I was walking, like if I was flipping through records at a record store?
Mine's glittery.
It's glittery?
Ooh, that adds to it.
Mine's glittery. Look at that.
Okay, that adds to it. So that's going to bump it up.
And then the back's glittery.
Okay, so the glitter is making it bump up a bit here. But I would say, like, the actual idea behind the art, well, it matches the album. I don't think that it's necessarily something that's like, like wildly original. So I would go lower on album art. I'd honestly probably go a 7 on the album art.
Yeah, I mean, it's fairly standard. I'll go an 8. She's gorgeous. That adds to it too, and it's a nice looking album cover. I'll go an 8. Yeah.
I'll say like a 7. I'll give you the 7. I'll agree on that.
Yeah, I think it's fair. Yeah, it's pretty simple. Simple ain't bad.
No, that's true.
I wouldn't frame it on my wall or anything.
No.
Yeah.
All right, so
like I could have made this. This seems like a poster I would make.
Yeah, like that. Yeah. That seems like something that I could do with my own camera.
Yeah,
and Canva.
Yeah,
probably.
That's how I feel about all of her album covers. They all kind of are just like, I think it is because she and her sister did the first couple themselves, I believe. So, like, no budget.
Then I love it. No nuts.
Yeah. I don't know.
Keep it in the family.
Okay, now reception. It had generally favorable reviews, but I will say she's had higher success with a couple of her albums, specifically her debut and Golden Hour, because those were the two that won Grammys. So I would put the reception, I'd have to give it what Metacritic did, which was, they said 78 out of 100. I would probably go 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll go 7.5.
That's fair. I agree.
Is it our rating or is it our rating of how people received it?
It's our...
That's a good question. We've never discussed this.
We've actually, yeah.
We're like 18 episodes in.
Nobody's actually asked us.
Yeah,
that.
I think this is her best album in my opinion.
Okay, fair enough.
This is my favorite one. So like, that's why it's 10 out of 10. I like the songs a lot more, and they're a little bit more groovy than the other ones. Like Golden Hour's got a bunch of great songs, but it's a little bit more poppier. But this one is like, well, it has a lot of stringed instruments, which I really like, and more memorable songs to me than Same Trailer, Different Park. I kind of like pop right with organic instrumentation. I think is my jam.
That makes sense. I think it's on par with Same Trailer, Different Park for me. I think there are certain songs on that one that just really are my favorite Kacey songs, but I think it's a close tie.
All right, so right now
7.5.
we're at an 8.25 out of 10.
Okay, that sounds good.
And the final question, does it hold up?
Absolutely.
I would say yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Totally.
All right. So it's at an 8.25 out of 10.
That's good. That's a good rating.
That's a good rating.
All right.
That's better than Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA.
Yeah, it is.
We
docked Bruce a little bit for his creepy lyrics.
Yeah, his creepy lyrics really fucked him.
Specifically in
Hey,
I'm
little
on
girl,
fire.
is your daddy
Yeah.
home? Did he go and leave you all alone?
Yeah. It's
Also, the song "Born in the USA," people in America like it, although it's a huge critique on it. So, does the song kind of fail if people don't know it's like, "Hey, America, get your shit together"? Same with there's a John Mellencamp
we
song.
talked about
Little
that
Pink
too.
Houses. That song rocks. I have no fucking idea what it's about, but it's criticizing the hell out of the U.S. I have no idea.
What do we talk about how they sent me over to shoot the yellow man.
Yeah.
It's like really good lyrics, Bruce. Yeah, good job.
Yeah. Very, very cringe in that department.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we wrap up, before we get out of here, tell us your socials and tell us where people can find you. YouTube, Instagram, yada yada. I want to hand it over to y'all.
Yeah, on Instagram and on TikTok, I believe we are the period Doohickeys, because the space or the underscore Doohickeys is like children, so the period Doohickeys.
No punctuation. SpongeBob meme page that I think is private or something. I don't know. We couldn't figure out how to get access to it, so we had to we put a dot in it.
We did. And then our website is thedoohickeysband.com. You can check us out there. YouTube, we're the Doohickeys. I don't know if we have a Facebook page, but does
If you find the website, you'll find it all, and then you can find our personals through there as well.
Yeah.
And do you guys have any shows coming up? Because this is going to come out in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So do you have any shows coming up end of February into March or April?
On March 16th, we're playing at Desert 5 Spot in Hollywood. It's a rooftop country bar. It was really, really cool. If you've not been to it yet, come out.
All our Los Angeles listeners.
Yeah, it's a great bar and a really fun place to hang. And we'll be playing some country tunes there.
Hell yeah.
March 16th. Yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, thank
Any
you
other
both
things?
so much for coming on.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys taking your time out and spending some time having some fun and shooting some shit and talking some music.
And farting, apparently.
Yeah, it's
Fucking,
much.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's much appreciated. We thank you
Hey,
very
thank
much.
you for
Thank you
having
for
me.
your time.
Yeah. And I guess one thing I have to plug really quickly before I get out of here, because I forgot both episodes yesterday. Vancouver Island and Kelowna. In May, I'm going to be coming to you, so look out for the tickets. They're going to be coming up soon. It's my first headlining tour. Please come out. I really don't want to suck. Thank you.
And shout out to the Vito's for the theme song, as always.
Yep.
Thank you guys for listening. It's been fun.
All right, anal contusions.
Cheers.
Actually, McAnally contusions.
Nice. Thank you for listening to this episode of Misfits on Vinyl, hosted by Spencer Strikert and me, Aaron Walsh, and of course produced by Sam the Tech Man, Sam Lindsay. If you like us, please rate us, subscribe to us, share us. Our socials are Misfits on Vinyl Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. If you want to send us an email with any suggestions or criticisms, we love that shit, so send it away. It's misfitsonvinyl@gmail.com. We love you guys. Thank you.